Audience ready?
Yeah.
Okay. In the beginning, Bartholomew Cubbins did not have 500 hats. He only had one hat, and that one hat had belonged to his father, and his father's father before him. It was the oldest and plainest hat in the entire kingdom of Did, where Bartholomew Cubbins lived. But Bartholomew liked it, especially because of a feather that was always pointing straight up. The 500 Hats of Bartholomew Cubbins by Dr. Seuss. Just after sunrise one Saturday morning, Bartholomew started for town. But when he arrived at the gates, he heard silver trumpets ringing in the air. Clear the way, make way for the king, hats off for the king people. It was the king. On came the king's carriage. It swept past Bartholomew, but then it screeched to a halt. Back up! The carriage backed up and stopped right in front of Bartholomew. He began to tremble. Do you or do you not take off your hat or you'll king? Yes, sire, I do. I do take off my hat before the king. Well, then take it off this very instant. But sire, my hat is in my hands. Well, if that is your hat in your hands, then what is on your head? My head? There appeared to be something on his head. He reached up with one hand and touched a hat. It's a hat, sire, but it wasn't me. Somebody must have put it there. I don't care how it got there. Just take it off. So, Bartholomew took off the hat. But when he looked at it, he stared at it with amazement. It was exactly the same as his very own. By the crowns of my fathers, did I or did I not command you to take off that hat? There is still a hat upon your head. Another hat? What is the meaning of this? I don't know, sire. Well, arrest this impudent trickster. I will teach him how to take off his hat. And so, Bartholomew was arrested. But eventually, he was taken to the king's throne room to discuss the issue of his hats. I will give you one more chance. Will you take off your hat for your king? I will, sire, but I'm afraid it won't do good. And he took off his hat, and it did no good. He took off hat after hat after hat until he was standing with a great big pile of hats. Your Majesty, I advise you call in your expert on hats. Yes, a good idea. Bring me Sir Snips, maker of hats for all the fine lords. In came the smallest man, wearing the tallest hat Bartholomew had ever seen. Take a look at this boy's hat. Why, yes. It's the most ordinary hat I ever set my eye on. Well, in that case, it should be very easy for you to take off, shouldn't it? Why, yes. Simple indeed. And so, Sir Snips took his pudgy thumb and pushed it into Bartholomew's hat, knocking it on the floor. But then, another one appeared on his head. And so Sir Snips left the room crying. Oh dear. Your Majesty, I advise you call in your wise men. An excellent idea. Bring me Nad. Nad knows everything about everything in my entire kingdom. In came the oldest man Bartholomew had ever seen. Nad, my man, take a look at this boy's hat. Can you take it off? Does this mean that there is nobody in my entire kingdom that can take off this boy's hat? What should I do? And then, in came a little boy, about the same age and height as Bartholomew. It was Grand Duke Wilfred, nephew of the king. If I were king, I would take him up to the top of the highest turret and do, though. And so, Bartholomew cried, "Oh, this is my very last chance," he said, as they led him up to the top of the highest turret. He took off hat after hat after hat until he was at the top. But then, he failed to realize that the hats began to change. When he got up to the top, the little boy said, "Ooh, get up on that wall. I can't wait to push you off." Wait! When they had seen him, they were gasped in astonishment, for he had been wearing the most beautiful hat that they had ever seen. It had a ruby larger than the king himself had ever owned. It made the king's crown look like nothing. "Oh, this new hat makes me even better. I'm going to push you off." And so he flung out his arms in order to push off Bartholomew. But the king was quicker, and he grabbed the little duke by his collar and he told him, "Ooh, this will show you that the Grand Duke should never talk back to his king." Anyway, it'd be awful nice of you to sell me that hat. Say, 500 gold pieces? "Anything you say, sire." So Bartholomew began to take off the hat. Slowly, he felt the weight of the great hat lifting from his head. He held his breath. But then, he felt the cool evening breeze running through his hair. The head of Bartholomew Cubbins was finally bare. And nor Bartholomew, nor the king, nor anyone else in the entire kingdom of Din could ever explain what had happened that day. They could simply say, it happened to happen, and it wasn't very likely to happen again.